Ladybugs would not be this chill. God, that's more like it. See ya. Survival crafting games can be hard to get into. With all the recipes, mechanics, items, and general knowledge you need to keep track of, there's a reason most of these games are played with an open wiki page. Grounded, I think, is in a good place. There's still a lot to know, but it's all fed to you in manageable bites that stem from problem solving, and a lot of the information is presented to you or found in-game. It does its best not to overwhelm you. Obsidian Entertainment took a player-first approach when making Grounded. An award-winning approach. But first things first. Is Grounded any good? Who's it for? And more importantly, is it worth your time? Short version, yes, everyone, yes. Long version, if you know anything about Obsidian Entertainment, you know things can get iffy, but not this time. For the most part, the only bugs you'll be dealing with here are the ones trying to eat you. They called in the exterminators for this one. Patch after patch has fixed and optimized this game to a place where it's rare to find anything game-breaking. The only problems you might run into are silly little things like items falling through the ground or creatures clipping into plants. I could have been lucky, but I never had any real issues, and I didn't find many recent complaints online. This game is Obsidian's baby. They put a lot of love into it, and it shows. The player-first approach is felt everywhere. From text-to-speech to how spidery you want your spiders. This isn't better. Almost every option in this game can be tweaked. I can't imagine how spoiled we'd be if all games had this level of adjustability. Don't like something? Turn it off. Something break? Fix it. Motion blur be gone. This review is mostly based off the default settings, as you could argue that's the intended experience, but I also bet the majority of new players don't know or won't bother adjusting settings on their first playthrough. As for how the game looks, Grounded is eye candy. Realistic graphics are cool and all, but typically don't age well. A good art style sidesteps this issue and is a quick and easy way of setting tone for the game. In many ways, Grounded is like your Saturday morning cartoons. Vibrant colors, warm lighting, cheerful mood. It's so cozy. The game knows it's pretty too. There's a baked-in photo mode. You'll just be walking around the yard or exploring some dark place, then the light hits just right and boom, new desktop background. I don't even like taking pictures, but that's just the environments. From the various areas in the yard to the details on the items, the visuals are consistent and charming. Sometimes things can get a little plasticky, but your eyes won't get bored or tired here. So it's a treat for the eyes, what about the ears? Listen. Not bad, right? Makes you feel outside. Another great job. If I had to describe the soundscape in one word, it would be subtle. What do you mean? It's the suburban jungle. How is that subtle? Yeah, I know, but like you don't notice it. Okay, you notice it, but like from its absence. It's there to fill space. How do I put this? You don't remember a painting for its frame. Since all the critters in the game are so vocal, it's weird not to hear them mixed into the background noise, but we in the business call that a non-issue. The music shoots for atmosphere too. Most tracks are calm, almost hypnotizing. The music is meant to fade into the background and draw you in with it. There's no real iconic tracks, and I don't think you'll be scrambling to put anything you hear on your playlist, with maybe a few exceptions. On its own, the combat music isn't memorable, but the increase in tempo alone is jarring enough to catch your attention. Going from this to this makes it very obvious when you're in trouble, which helps a lot because with how relaxing the game can be, you might forget how much danger you're in. You'll just be out minding your own business, kicking rocks and touching grass, when suddenly... Now, the boss themes are another story. good. I do think the choir is an odd choice. What is this, Dark Souls? Still good. The voice work is also fantastic. I don't really have much to say about it.
Hey, nice to meet you. The name's Max. Maxwell Smalls.
Hey, I'm Willow Branch.
My name's Peter. My friends call me Pete. Alley Whoop.
Great work all around. Nothing jarring, generally. I know that's not very substantial, but that's good, right? No real complaints?
I have isolated the source of the particle irregularities. They appear to be a byproduct of the shrinking process. If I adjust the machine to account for their existence, it should be the key to the de-shrinking, expanding process. Virgil, please bring up the readings for the irregular covalent SNPI 42Z particle traces.
There is one voice I wish I could unhear.
I am Burgle.
That's not the actor's fault. It's the designer's fault. Yeah, whatever. It's a kid's game, right? Oh my god, shut up. Oh, and the bugs. Pretty cute, right? Each bug has its own voice. They're all very distinctive and you can hear them from a ways out. This is incredibly useful. On top of being adorable, you can use these audio cues to know if you're about to have a meal or become one.
Hey, buddy. Clogs now?
So the game is smooth, easy to get into, looks and sounds great, fantastic. But what is it? Grounded starts off pretty typical for a survival crafting game. You have to find food to eat and clean water to drink, build shelter, fend off the critters. But the very first thing you get in this game is a mystery. What's with this case? These cutouts are body shaped. Someone made this. Oh, a tiny building? What is it for? ASL? I don't remember my MSN account. There's enough strangeness scattered around to tickle your curiosity. Between these breadcrumbs and the quest log, the game gives you enough direction to progress and freedom to get lost. At some point, by chance or necessity, you found out what's safe to drink and how to feed yourself. Gathered some resources, maybe built a little structure and fought a little bug. Woo, you got the basics. Now it's up to you to build off what you learned. From here on out, everything gets easier and more complicated. You'll find better ways to sustain yourself, build, craft, and fight. These systems are all linked to each other. For example, sure, there's food and water around, but cooking opens up more and better food. Roasting bug meat can do the job, but a cookery can make higher tier foods that give you buffs and feed you for longer. Of course, you need special resources to make that. These resources are behind environmental hazards or inside dangerous enemies, but with a little scouting and the right tool for the job, what could have been a struggle for life and death becomes just another trophy for your wall. The whole game is like this. Everything is connected. You'll be presented with a problem that's just above your weight class and given plenty of freedom in how you want to tackle it. There are some barriers that require specific solutions, but these are generally gated in this way for story reasons. What the? Hey, that's mine! Get out of here! Get! It's time for violence. At the start, the combat of Grounded seems incredibly basic. Find stick, find rock. And while you can Conan your way through most enemies, there's more here than you might expect. Power attacks, combos, animation canceling, block mechanics. Weapons have different attack speeds and damage types. Some have special effects, and all of them can be thrown. If you're the hit it until it falls over type, you'll find that the last hit of your spam combo does bonus damage. Hey, you want to do more damage? Blocking after the last hit of this combo cancels the end leg on the animation, so you can get back to left clicking. Watch your stamina. You shouldn't neglect defense either. Timing a block correctly completely negates damage. Enemies in this game telegraph the hell out of their attacks. Once you have the timing down, bugs that seemed scary before become trivial. Watch your stamina. Now, left clicking on enemies until they fall over will work for a while, but eventually you'll run into something that caveman tactics can't kill. It's time to evolve. Using your high-tech scanning goggles, you can learn a bug's resistances, vulnerabilities, and any weak points they might have. There's multiple damage types across an arsenal of weapons, utility items, food buffs, elixirs, armor types, and eventually elemental damage. There are so many ways to approach combat, you'll never be out of options. If a bug is giving you trouble, retreat, regroup, rearm, re-engage, or cheese. It all loops together fantastically. The more mechanics you interact with, the easier the game gets. Obvious take, Fox. The more you learn about something, the better you are at it. The point here is the game gets more complicated naturally through you solving problems over info dumping or trusting that you'll have the wiki open on another screen. It's great design. All of this sits on top of the item system. There's a lot of them. Okay, I've got to mention a pet peeve of mine. I hate item degradation. Not because I think it's bad, but because it's so hard to get right. Stuff either breaks too quickly and it's annoying, or it's incredibly costly to repair, and it's annoying. That said, it's not terrible in Grounded. You can go a few real-world hours without anything breaking. There's plenty of warning before it happens, and when it comes time to repair, you need only a fraction of the item's cost. And even if the item breaks, it's not immediately deleted. It sits uselessly in your pockets until you fix or replace it. This mechanic didn't ruin my fun like it does in Breath of the Wild. I don't have to like it. Besides, like everything else, you can turn it off. Yeah, I kept it on. Just because I'm not a fan of the mechanic doesn't mean I can't see its value. With the basics down and all the toys you're given, it's time to go out into the world. There is so much to do and see on this map. Distractions abound. Obsidian crammed as many backyard tropes into the game as they could. Sure, there's plenty of dirt and grass, but a lot of other biomes too. Grassy hills, muddy puddles, murky pond, barbecues, sandbox, hedgerow, hay macarena. In addition, those miniaturized science labs function as the game's dungeons. I won't say more about them, I don't want to spoil the fun. The game does a pretty good job of realizing what it would be like to be bug-sized. Turns out, it's dangerous. To get across the yard, you'll need to be prepared. Food? Water? Band-aids? Extra weapons, materials, and dandelion seeds? All this prep work can eat up a lot of time. You don't have to be ready for everything, but the more you prepare, the easier time you'll have. And traversal options open up as the game progresses. But for quite a while, you'll be huffing it. Thankfully, there's plenty of ways to make yourself fast. And if you're good at platforming, you can try your hand at grass running. Hopping atop the plants is faster and safer than using the ground, as long as you don't fall. Building little outposts in the wild can also make your life easier. Well-stocked ranger stations cut down on prep time. Though, if you're like me, you'll probably bunker down in one main base. How does this go unnoticed? Again, the building system in the game keeps things simple. Building parts need to be supported. You can turn this off. And snap to each other. The limiting factor here is resources. I won't be talking about creative mode. It'll take a few days if you're going big. Lots of lugging logs to your location. Stockpiling is a must. Thankfully, those clever developers took mercy on us. You don't need to hold items or have them in your inventory to build. If you're building something and the materials you need are in a pallet or chest nearby, they are automatically used when you hit the build button, minimizing the amount of busy work. Yay! There is a maximum range to this and you don't get to choose which pile the stuff comes from, but it's still very nice. While you don't have the build freedom of something like Minecraft, you can still make some amazing and beautiful bases. Building won't win you the game though, until it does. And now it's story time, so if you don't want spoilers, skip to here. Okay, so we woke up in this case, right? Found all these tiny buildings and giant machines. Clearly there's some magic school bus fuckery going on. Following this trail leads you into the Oak Tree Lab, where you find out the yard belongs to Dr. Wendell Tully, a scientist turned substitute teacher that's been working on shrinking technology. After skipping the robot's dialogue, you're sent around the yard to collect memory chips for this robot, so you can find Dr. Tully and figure out a way to embiggen yourself. Collecting these chips, you'll find that it's not only Burgle's memories that are coming back. You start having dreams, flashbacks of being in some strange lab, surrounded by spooky scientist silhouettes. As it so happens, you were kidnapped by the organization Dr. Tully worked for, Ominent, an evil corporation that wanted to use Dr. Tully's shrinking tech for reasons. Problem is they only know how to shrink people. Dr. Tully butted heads with the lead scientist and took his tech with him, before figuring out how to put things back to normal size. And now, Wendell Tully is nowhere to be found. So you might think that you've been sent into the yard to find him, and that's mostly true. After testing their shrinking tech, Ominent had no further use for you. And if you had any reason to doubt whether or not this corporation is evil, the lead scientist orders you disposed of, kidnapping, and murder. I thought this was a kid's game. Obviously this is too much for the unpaid lab techs, so they put you in a case and throw you into Dr. Tully's yard, hoping that maybe you'll run into him and everything will turn out hunky-dory. And that's where the game starts. You do eventually find the good doctor, though he's in a bit of a pickle. Hehe. You see, adults fall prey to something called raisening syndrome. The longer they spend shrunk, the more their cells age. But if this makes you think the game puts you on a timer, it doesn't. Thanks to the power of youth, you're in no danger of raisening, giving you time to collect what you need to make the embiggening formula and save yourselves and Wendell. There's actually a couple endings to this game. If you finish the game quickly after finding Dr. Raisin, you get the bad ending. Wendell stays a raisin, and Ominent get away with everything. But if you're a good person, or you just hate corporations, same thing. You can make evil suffer, defeating a secret boss, and then you get the happy ending. The doctor de-raisins, you're all returned to normal size, and everyone lives happily ever after. Make sure you save before you push the end game button. I have so much more to say about Grounded. I feel like I barely scratched the surface. There's optional bosses, so many collectibles, and a literal sandbox mode. You'll have to go out of your way to see everything the game has to offer. I didn't even mention multiplayer. Up to 4 people can share a save file. There's no dedicated server. The first person to log in becomes the host, and the file is saved for everyone, so you can hop in and play whenever. Games are always more fun with friends. It really feels like Obsidian went above and beyond with this game. It's not perfect. It's hard to expect the difficulty spikes. There's no read-all option in the menu menus. Navigating them can also be a little clunky, and you have to deal with this obnoxious tin can. But it's such a well-crafted and polished experience, the good far outweighs the bad. The game actually received its final content patch while I was editing this video. No, it's not dead. It's done. It's a finished product. Even if you blitz through everything, there's still more. That sandbox mode lets players create content for each other. No matter what, you get your money's worth for this one, even at full price. Whether you're a long-time gamer or new to the hobby, Grounded has something for everyone. I highly recommend picking this up. Apparently they're also making a TV show. Trust me bro, the internet says it's happening. Could be neat. Anyway, I'm off to squish more bugs. Later. You still here? Hey, thanks for watching. I hope to do a lot more of these reviews. I want to show you my favorite games, and hopefully you'll like them. Some are good, I promise. If you have a game you'd like me to take a look at, let me know in the comments, or send me an email. Looking forward to hearing from you. Bye!